Hi, this is Alan Schimmel of DevOps.com, and we're here at the DevOps Enterprise Summit speaking to none other than Adrian Cockcroft, who's just come off the floor of the Grand Hall where he delivered his session. Adrian, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Adrian, for our viewers who may not have been here or are watching this after the fact, can you give us a little synopsis of your session?
Sure. The talk was called Systems for Innovation, and it's about, DevOps is a systems-based culture, right? People say DevOps is a systems thinking approach. So I wanted to talk a bit about really what does systems thinking look like in practice. You could subtitle it also kind of the inside story of the Netflix culture deck. I was at Netflix for a long time. I've been at Battery Ventures the last 2 years, but I keep getting questions about Netflix.
Sure.
And the culture deck appeared in 2009, and I was there when it was created, and I give a little bit about the story of how that happened, and why it was created, what it was for, and then talked a bit about some interesting books about systems thinking, some ideas, and why when you create these systems you can basically deal with the problem of talent density, which is really one of those core things where everyone says we want to hire better talent, and then they build a system in their company that drives talent away. So that's a big issue for a lot of people.
Yeah, I started several software companies and I'm guilty as charged. Adrian, I mean, there was a lot of buzz as the people were coming out. You know, you are probably one of the founding people of the DevOps movement. A lot of people look to you as that. What do you think when you come to a DevOps Enterprise Summit like this with this kind of turnout?
Well, I came last year. I've been on the program committee. I had a bit more involvement last year. I got a bit too busy to get really deeply involved this year. But last year was, I think it was the best conference I went to last year. It was the most eye-opening. And basically, at some point during the discussions last year, we said, let's take all the vendors out of it and just make it end user experiences. And it was just one company after another saying this is what we're doing, and it was eye-opening how far they'd gone, the individual stories, the patterns. So I've spent the last year telling people to go watch the videos. Go watch Mark Schwartz, go watch Nordstrom, Target. There are several that you just need to watch them to understand what's happening. And unfortunately, I missed this morning. I'm going to be here for the next 2 days, but there's some great talks. We've got Capital One tomorrow morning with Topo. Who, I've been spending a lot of time with Capital One recently. They're really pushing the boundaries. So I think that this is, for whatever reason, it's come together that there is an awful lot happening in this space, and everyone's coming together to help each other, and it's a cultural problem. It's like we have to figure out how to do reorgs, how to change things. What are you trying to change? What outcomes are you trying to get to? But the outcome at the end is just companies that are better to work at, that are more competitive, and everything is just working better.
Well, the companies are better, not only for the people, but for their customers as well. Yeah. I would say, Adrian, one of my biggest observations was where last year you had Nordstrom and Target, perhaps. There was someone from Walmart too, I think.
Yeah.
Julie Tsai. But we are seeing, rather than just an example within a particular vertical, this year we're seeing a much wider swath of verticals, whether it be financial or insurance or medical or retail in the case of the Nordstroms. We're seeing, and to me that indicates a broader adoption curve.
Yeah, right, it's definitely getting broader.
Yep.
Yeah, I think people are realizing that that they get left behind. I was at the JPMC summit last week. So they come and visit Silicon Valley to talk to all the startups, and Jamie Dillon was there, and he said he's worried about what's coming out of the Bay Area. JPMC, who spent $9 billion a year on IT, are worried about what's coming out of the Bay Area and how are they going to compete and how do they deal with that. And then they put up a slide showing their cloud strategy, and it had chaos monkeys on it and a bit of public cloud for the first time. They're actually saying, yeah, we're going to do public cloud, not just private. They're doing both. And where are they going with this? See Rob Alexander of Capital One at reInvent saying we're going to close some data centers and run our critical stuff on AWS. those kind of changes are, financial. The fintech area is basically as a unit. I was talking to Suresh Kumar, BNY Mellon, earlier today as well. They are all looking, okay, we need to change. We can see what we have to do to change, and they're on the path to doing it. So it's not just like poking at it with a long stick anymore. They're in the middle of the change, and I think that's what this summit is. It's people. Not everyone's. Very few people have finished, right? But they've started.
No, when you look at technology adoption curves, right, and you go to mainstream, there's that first part of the mainstream that says, I have a problem, and if this will help me solve that problem, I don't care what you call it, I'll use it. Then there's the conservative end of the mainstream that says, I won't use it until someone I know is using it.
Yeah.
And I think that we're almost getting some of that, where we're saying, hey, they're using it, we've got to use it because to compete. In any event, one last question, Adrian, because I know you're busy. We've come so far relatively quickly. What do you think this looks like in 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years out, I think there's the companies that didn't make this change will be really, disappearing in 3 to 5 years. Yeah, I think we've seen a bunch of dinosaurs. They start buying each other. Cannibalism going on.
There's a recent Wired article.
The Wired article.
Something
like
by the
Kate
clouds.
Knott. Yeah. So I think that's it's so when you get an existential threat, then that's when you can change company cultures. That's when you can do the big reorgs, right? So we've seen sort of Dell buying EMC. That's in the face of some existential threats to their business model. So you're seeing those kinds of changes pushing through. So it's risen to that point now where, really, I think in 5 years' time you will have a very different landscape. Much more use of public cloud. Obviously, that's really, given what happened at reInvent a couple of weeks ago, people are, the groundswell of opinion is that this is moving much more strongly than some people had thought. So, you can be one of the last few dinosaurs, or you can be reinvent yourself.
New breed. Absolutely. Adrian Cockcroft, thank you so much. Thank you on behalf of IT Revolution, Electric Cloud, and DevOps.com. People like you make this a great event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com.